Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. Really happy to have you here. It was a rather weird weekend for me. I had sun and rain at the same time. Those are good days.
Mm,
But
mm.
Other than that, it was pretty quiet. Did take a ride down, and we kind of my wife and I got our wires crossed, as sometimes they do, which basically me not listening to her and her not listening to me, not listening to her. So ultimately, you know. It's my fault, of course, no matter how it goes.
Yeah.
But there was salvation because we were supposed to go to this restaurant, but I drove a different direction, and yeah, well, you know how it goes. But
Oh,
nevertheless,
yeah.
we did go since we ended up someplace that we weren't supposed to be. We ended up trying a restaurant we had tried in many, many, many years because long time ago, way, way back, it used to be really good, and then they changed the workers, and it wasn't good anymore. But I'm happy to report that it's back to its old goodness. So
What
another reason,
that's good.
yeah, travel that direction. It's a nice little drive down to that city to the south, but the food sucks balls. It's just really not a good. There's no reason to go there, you know.
Hmm,
Um,
right.
so that was like the only place. But here in Japan, they have like this, depending on the country, 2 or 3 year kind of work visa type of thing they do, and
Mhm.
which is really too limiting. But Japan doesn't really like foreigners, so there's that.
No.
Yeah, no. But basically, especially with like the curry restaurant, masala garam restaurants, right? They all call them curry for some reason, which is weird. If you go to India and you say curry, I guess they know what it is now, but they don't even have that word.
Really?
Yeah, it's not even a
Hmm.
word in their language. That old rich English guy, he was buying spices from a place called uh, Kure or Kurue or something like that on the west coast, southwestern coast of India, and he just named it after the place he was buying the spice. But mispronunciation curry, because curry is not actually Indian beyond the spices, right? It's just Irish beef stew with Indian spices in it. Is what it is. But it's become
Hmm.
very popular, so much so that the word has traveled back to India, which isn't even their word, and they even say it. Nevertheless, I was at a curry restaurant, of course, run by Nepalese. And here's a little hint for all of you out there in the nether. If you want yourself some good curry, don't go to an Indian run one because it's kind of
Mm.
shit, especially their naan. If you're going to go to an Indian curry place, understand that it's going to be that kind of off putting spicy taste instead of the nice sweet spicy taste. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And their naan is going to be like freaking 5 inches thick, and it's going to be like chewing on a damn tire. If you want actually good masala garam, or just, we'll just call it curry, right? Go to the Nepalese ones because they rock. And that's mainly what we have over here where I live anyway, is Nepalese run curry houses, which is something I had never discovered. I traveled and did all these things in my life, and I'd never been to a curry shop until I was living in China. Weird.
Mm.
And I
It is
tried
weird.
it, and I was like, ooh, that's pretty good. Because I kind of assumed it was curry. I didn't really know at the time the history of it, and I just didn't know. So I was like, I never cared much for curry. Are you a big curry guy? The
No.
American one, the British one.
No, no, no.
Yeah, no, no,
No, no, no.
not a big fan. But boy, that Indian shit's different.
It's different, huh?
It is. Yeah, so I suggest you go try it, but see people who work in there, make sure they're like Nepalese because those guys do the best. But I do enjoy it considerably. Although it is one of those foods, though, and you know what I mean, Thundera, where the range of good to bad is enormous.
Mhm.
right? I mean, it's kind of like what's another food that falls in that category? Pizza. Oh, yeah, pizza. I mean, like,
Yeah.
cause taco is kind of hard to screw up. I mean, really, it might give you some disease, but it's got to at least be edible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, see that's where I would differ because I don't like beef tacos. Well, I like steak tacos, but I don't like hamburger tacos, ground beef tacos.
Oh yeah,
But if you get me some chicken, you get me some just about anything else. I've never had fish tacos, but just about everything else. I've had shrimp tacos, chicken tacos, pork tacos. I mean, you can put just about anything in that slop and eat it.
yeah.
Um, it's pretty good time. But that's the only ones I personally dislike. Pizza is one of those ones where even when it's bad, unless it's like burnt and inedible, it's still decent. But when it's good, it's
Wow.
it's amazing. It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
You're having an orgasm in your mouth with flavor.
I wish you would
It's so good.
tell the Japanese this.
Well,
Their
listen,
pizza sucks, man. They can't do Italian food. And what the weird thing is? The majority of
it's
Italian
just
food, what
weird.
is it? Pasta.
Noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And, and they're
get the,
like
you just
masters
make
of
tomato
pasta, man.
sauce. How does
I
what's
just
going on?
they just because their noodles are smooth, right?
Mm,
They don't make rough noodles here.
right. So it doesn't
And
absorb that sauce,
no, you need that rough noodle for pasta to be proper. But yeah, they suck at it. But yeah,
which is odd because I. It's funny. I was just watching this. Somebody, or I just found it. I just saw it on Facebook or something. I don't remember how I came across it. But there was this video of a bunch of British kids eating Southern food. American Southern food.
yeah.
So they got them biscuits and they got them
Well, it's all English food
gravy.
anyway. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
They got them biscuits and gravy, little sausage gravy, and then they got them, fried chicken, Southern style fried chicken, and then dipped it in the gravy for them. And most of these kids, it's like they'd never ate food before a day in their life. It was their faces literally lit up because they finally got something that tasted good in their life
Oh,
besides
I see.
British food. Um,
Well, the
and
British do like them
I
gravy.
showed this. Oh yeah, I showed this to a couple people, including Grimlock, and I was like, "Look, this is why I say American peasant food is the best, because it is. It just is. It's hard to argue it, especially when other people from other cultures try it and they're like, immediately in love, talking about how they want to eat this every day.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
we have an unfair advantage, though. I
well,
mean,
yeah,
come on. I mean, we
yeah, we
have
cheat.
the whole damn planet is on top of
That's right.
us, man. I mean, of
We cheat.
course, yeah, but it's all that culture and all that cuisine coming together. Of course, it's going to produce badass shit. I mean, it's
There is,
inevitable.
and I could bet you I could win this bet. No peasant food, no lower class food better than a hamburger. It doesn't
No,
exist.
they're
You
good.
can't find it, and if you can, give it to me because I want to eat it.
Right. Well, I
but
mean,
but
a
the
good
hamburger is still king, and it will remain king until somebody comes up with something that's better. And a hamburger's not that bad for you, depending on what cut of meat you use. You can
yeah,
actually get a
no.
pretty good hamburger.
They're pretty healthy, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, America, of course, has got a lot of good things. But going back to the taco real quick,
Mm-mm.
there was actually a big, I don't know if it's a scandal, but a fiasco, let's use that word, that went on the internet last week. This
Uh-oh.
very conversation, American food, English food, Sargon of Akkad was picking a fight, and he got one.
Ah.
The internet decided to engage. And of course, in the end, the Americans were defending the Mexican food, and the Mexicans didn't say a word, and everybody was like, Mexican food sucks. Now, let's be honest
Well,
here. There are some things in Mexican cuisine that are freaking stellar. Queso,
tamales.
tamales,
Yeah.
the mole sauces. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
The Mexican style rice. Love it. Give me
Yeah,
some.
no.
I'll
So
eat it right now.
there are some good things, but to be
Yep.
fair, the stereotype is real. They eat a lot of tacos.
and it's
they really
and
do.
tacos are basically just slop on a tortilla.
It
That's all they
is.
are.
It is. It's not very advanced. So going back, but that doesn't mean it can't be good though.
That's true.
Going back to the Americans' Tex-Mex prolectivities. Oh God, my word. Natural,
Proclivities.
yeah, natural desires too. Thank you.
There you
Um,
go.
uh, to just eat that Tex-Mex crap where you get this hard corn
Ugh,
shell,
no,
some kind of ground beef with a spice in it of some kind, and then all
no,
of that. And
no.
that, not saying that can't be a good bite though. It can be, but
When you
really,
compare it to a steak taco, though, I mean,
yeah,
come on.
no. That's what I'm getting to. Go
Yeah,
buy a grill, the cheapest
that's
one
right.
you can find, or a Weber, which is probably
Yep,
better buy, but a little bit more expensive. But it's a very low end of cost item, nevertheless. Go buy yourself a grill. Go find yourself a YouTube channel and follow any recipe and
yep.
barbecue any item, and then put it in your taco.
Put it right in that tortilla.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
give
a
them this.
soft
The
one.
tortilla is pretty damn good. They
It's
don't get
very
enough credit
handy.
for the tortilla.
It's very
Yeah,
handy.
it's good. It's versatile. You can do any. You can have it for any meal at all. You can use it. I do it all the time. Use it to make wraps. Use it to make breakfast wraps.
Yeah,
Use it for dinner. You can do anything with it.
yeah.
It's very good. They did a good job. They get claps for
They
the
do,
tortilla.
but
Good job.
you're also probably thinking about the flour-based one, and of course,
Yeah.
the Mexicans had nothing to do with that at all.
Listen, they get credit though, and the
Why?
reason they get credit is
Why?
because it's like their whole culture is based around this damn
Yeah,
thing.
but that came via the Spanish. It had nothing to do with the natives.
Everything
Um,
came via the white people, Chester. Come on now, we
shh.
got we got to give them something.
Has it been 15 minutes? No, it's only 12 minutes. Damn it.
No, I'll
Uh,
give the native. They got popcorn. They did that, and that might
yeah,
be the
no
best
corn.
the best food
Very
invention of
useful.
all time.
Yeah.
They
Um,
did.
Yeah,
It's theirs.
it is interesting how those ancient grasses all ended up in such different variety. They all started as
Mm,
a grass, but look what we got. We got frickin' rice, we got wheats and barleys and all those kind of
yep,
cereals. We have corn, and they're all coming out of a grass. And some ingenious, godlike genius from
yep.
ancient times said, "This grass in 10,000 years will be edible. Let's get started."
Let's get on it. Play the long game.
No, I'm still waiting for an anthropologist to explain to me how that happened. I'm still waiting.
Well, I've been. What's weird is I've been doing a little research, a little bit of that research,
Hmm.
and I'm finding more and more that it's very hard to justify eating leafy greens at all.
Oh,
There's
really?
very little nutrition in them. They're basically
They
most of
help
them
you
anyway are
shit
empty
better, though.
calories. They do, but there's a lot better ways to get that too. Um, I just don't see where the main benefit of it is you don't eat other crap. Basically, it's just a filler.
Yeah,
Uh, you can get
I
so many
like
more
salad
vitamins and
though.
nutrients. Well, yeah, but you can get so many more vitamins and nutrients from actual vegetables than you do from
The
that, and
leaves.
especially a lot of
Yeah,
vegetables. If they're not dirt vegetables, your the ones that grow in ground, the
tubers. Yeah.
above ground vegetables are extremely dirty. They're dirty food, and I don't know. I'm finding it more and more I research it, the less and less I'm like, nah, we got to go back. We got to start getting more carrots in our diet, more potatoes. It
Yeah,
just
no, though
seems
they are
like
better
the
for you. That's
healthier.
true. But
Yep.
it's not like it. You shouldn't. If you're only eating leafy things, what are you doing? You're not doing it
Yeah,
right.
that's not wise.
That's not
Wouldn't
how
recommend
you
it.
do it anyway. That's just an
No.
extra thing, right? Because
Yep.
I do love me a green salad.
It's filler. That's what it should
It
be treated
is,
as.
but
It's like healthy rice or like healthier, less carb rice, basically. Not healthy, but lower carb rice. It's just filler. It shouldn't be considered your meal.
no.
That's the stuff you use to fill your meal out. The meal needs to be your hard vegetables or your meat or both. And
I asked the Japanese a question about rice, and I got an
uh
answer because technically brown rice is actually way better for you,
yeah,
than
more
white
nutrients.
blanched rice.
That's right.
It's just way better. and and that's not even arguable. You can't make an argument against it. It's impossible.
Correct.
So I asked the Japanese, like, why do you guys take the? Because there are little machines all over the place here. Because Japanese is a very self-service culture, right?
Hmm.
And They got these little machines. You go in, you put your coin in, you dump your bag of rice because you don't. If you don't take the husk off the rice, it will last a really really long time, right?
Yep.
So they have these giant bags sitting home, and when they need more rice, they take it to this place. They put their money in. They pour the entire bag into the hopper, and it just takes all the good stuff out of the rice and gives them nice white rice so they can go home and cook it. And I was like,
Hmm.
"You know, why do you do that? Why don't you just eat it brown? It's way better for you anyway." And they know it. They're aware. And their answer was because it looks better.
Well,
Well,
yeah, it does, I
I
guess.
guess.
Uh,
I
I don't. And the
suppose.
weird thing is brown rice or white rice, the flavor. It's not that big of a difference to me, so I don't really.
Oh, I think there's a huge difference for me.
Um, Not. It's just not to me, but it's probably because of how I make it. I like to have a lot of some kind of sauce where I can make a sauce and put
All
it in
right.
there.
It took me
Yeah,
a
I don't just
while to
eat
be
it
able to
straight.
just eat straight rice.
Yeah.
It was a learned habit. It's not
Yeah.
natural. Seriously, dude. Um,
Yeah. No,
Corn
it's
and flour tortillas, Roger said. Yeah, the flour tortilla, just so you know, that's not how you spell flour. You're using the English spelling. You should go and use the German spelling if you wanted to have this word correct. But Other
mm,
than that English moment, um, flour, I don't know if you were aware of this, but the Americans had no clue what it was. All they had was corn and the multitude of things you can do with corn, and they did that. To be fair, their cooking, even down in the more civilized areas, was very, very substandard, primitive. That's Roger. This is your fault. This rant is on you. Okay. Because one of the things that irritates me, and I've been hearing a lot of it lately. You hear it all the time if you bother to listen to the Nether, right? But you know how you get these native peoples that will come up and talk about their connection to nature and
yeah.
on about how they're superior to the rest of us. And of course,
Yep.
we had the Lahaina fire, which was a horrible tragedy. Which was worse because of Democratic government just screwing
Mm,
shit up as they always do. I mean, that's the thing. You should never have Democrats managing anything. Any kind of liberals should never be managing anything. They're not good at it. But nevertheless, that aside, you get a lot of the complaints and all the kind of stuff coming. But of course, the local people keep going back to their superstitions, their gods, and their culture, and how superior they are to me and you. And it's like, oh, you
hmm.
fuckers. And the thing, every time I hear this, and you know what I mean, because we hear this shit all the time. They're always trying to look down on everybody. It's like you motherfuckers do realize that every culture on earth has been through where you are. We
Yep.
passed it. We evolved beyond it and improved ourselves. All our medicines didn't come out of some void of space. They're the old shamanistic medicines that we synthesized and improved. You fucking
Hmm.
primitives. God damn it, dude. No, it pisses me off because it's like you are behind the rest of us. Catch the
That's right.
fuck up. You don't have any special insight or knowledge. We've all been there. You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Oh yeah.
God.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
God, it's fucking because my wife, she loves a good tragedy. Um, of course, when we get some Morocco now, we're on to Morocco, so I'll see less of that, I suppose, because
Mm,
we have my it's my YouTube channel, but whatever, it's on the big TV. So when she uses YouTube, she's just using mine, so it gets packed full of her views. So I get frickin' Justin Bieber shit popping up on me, um, and I get disasters. And the frickin' Maui thing has been going on forever. Have they even shut up about that in the news at all? I mean, yay, a
No.
1,000 people died. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. But why are they getting all this attention, all this reparation, all this shit when we have disasters in America all the time and they hardly can barely get FEMA there?
Yep.
Jesus, man. I'm sorry. Ran over. That's your fault, Roger. That's on you.
He's on a rant at this point. He's off.
You know what I mean, dude.
No, I do. No, it's there's a lot of really we need to almost do a tinfoil talk on that those fires in Maui because there's a lot of sketchy stuff that's been going
Yeah,
on.
I have seen some of that. Yeah, it is
Um,
weird, especially the governor come out and say well, they're going to claim all the land. It's like, what?
yeah,
What?
what?
Huh?
Huh?
Huh? That would be
Excuse
against
me?
the Constitution, sir.
I
They
don't
don't.
believe you
They
have
don't
that
care.
authority, sir.
They don't care much about that. Oh, well, eminent domain. They always throw that around. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was pretty much it. There's a lot of really sketchy stuff around that their tragedy, and I don't know. I just at this point, I would believe anything is possible when it comes to whether or not certain interests had a hand or used technology that's far beyond what they claim to have to start fires and things like this. Because I mean, they've done such evil shit
Oh
in the
yeah, they
last 5, 10 years alone.
yeah they do a
Not
lot
to
of that.
mention before that, I just somebody's like,
Yeah,
yeah, they did that on purpose. All right, sure, probably. I believe you. I don't
yeah.
disbelieve you.
Governments are awful. It's true.
Y-
It is true. But
Horrible.
yeah. But no, just to finish because I'm having a hard time finishing a single thought. The corn tortillas and stuff have their place. They certainly do, especially when you take them and let them set aside and then fry them into little triangles. Yeah,
Yeah,
they have good value there. But other than that, use flour tortilla, of course. And make yourself a nice tomato-based queso. That's a nice bit of kick. Make any barbecue, whatever. I don't care what it is. You can use whatever protein you like. Barbecue that. Put your nice spicy little tomato paste queso, which you can find a million recipes, by the way. Dredge that on top of your little meat pile that you got there. Put some nice fresh onion on top of it. Wrap that shit and eat it. You don't need no damn lettuce. You certainly don't need fucking tomatoes, fresh tomatoes. You don't need any of
haters.
those other things. All you need is some nice barbecue meat and a nice queso sauce or a salsa. You go to a salsa. But that kind of freshness or a sauciness to it, but the queso works best. That's all. That's a taco right there. That's just heaven. Hmm.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, and
Pretty
my
good.
entire childhood was stuck with the old El Paso taco shells, bottled salsa, and freaking ground beef spice pack tacos. Oh,
Nice.
oh! I defeated all the purposes. My queso has cream cheese inside of it. Mm.
See, that's the other one. I've never been a big fan of cream cheese.
I like it, but it can be used in more ways than just spreading it on shit.
Yeah,
You know.
well, that's true.
Yeah. But because I mean, a good, nice, spicy, especially tomato-based queso. If you go only cheese, man, it's hard to manage that sauce. I mean, let's be fair, right? But if you go with a tomato-based queso that has a nice bit of kick to it, yeah, oh, that's like addictive, dude. That's it's not good.
It's a problem, is what you're saying.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, my wife actually makes a killer queso now. But we're the type where we'll make something and we'll make it over and over again until it's correct. We do like that. We're always, because we don't eat a lot, so we don't need, a freaking mountain of food on the table. We only eat a little anyway. So why not try to make it fancy and good? And we do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but she's got a killer. Right now, she's in the process of trying to perfect sesame chicken, and I'm here
Mm,
for it. Hmm. I had the last batch this weekend, and it radically improved. There were some takeaways from the time before that. We made some adjustments. Less sauce worked because with more sauce, the vinegar was coming through too strong. But with less sauce, it was correctly in the back where it should be. More spice. That helped because you need a little bit of spice in your sesame chicken. And then this weekend, our next attempt or I should say, her next attempt will be adding cashews to the mix.
Nice.
hmm hmm Yeah, yeah. How do you and your wife cook?
Oh, it depends. We do all sorts of different things. So our newest one is we've been getting back to where we have decided to get back to counting our calories pretty religiously because we had
hmm
stopped, and I put on a little bit of weight. So I'm like, nah, I'm not getting back. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that game. So I decided to get back on it, and I discovered this lovely little recipe for a Oreo shake, cookies and cream shake,
hmm
and it's super low calorie. So it's like you can get a whole shake, but pretty much just like a decent sized glass of it for about 300 calories. And I've been loving that. But the problem is, because I'm lactose intolerant, I have to use lactose free stuff. And finding lactose free ice cream can be a chore.
hmm
There's plenty to find, but a lot of it is either way too expensive or the calorie budget just doesn't make sense.
hmm
So,
hmm
but yeah,
I
that's the kind of stuff I've been making.
I do have a weight loss program that is far more efficient for you. You don't in my program, you don't need to actually count calories at all. Would you like to hear it?
Mm,
Yeah.
what's that?
Eat less, go out and jog every now and then, and don't even look at ice cream. I mean, don't even look in the direction of it.
No, I don't usually eat a lot of ice
That's
cream.
my
It's
diet
just I
plan.
came across that and it was looked pretty good, and it
Now,
was.
ice cream is my danger area for damn sure, dude. Uh, Damn. But you get to a point where you just no. I said no, and then you don't. The problem is my wife is constantly tempting me because she's one of them Asians, they got the frickin' tapeworm. She
Yeah.
can eat whatever the hell she wants to eat, and of course she's very fit and she's always doing her exercises and stuff like that. So I mean, of course she is. But she likes ice cream, of course, and she eats it no problem. Of course, she's skinny and fit, even though she's in her 50s. But yeah, it's just it's the Zen challenge. You see, you just put it aside. Don't look at it's not. I know what draws in, but that draw does not exist. You see,
Yeah,
that's how
there is no food,
there
Chester.
is no
There is
draw.
no food.
There is no
Yep.
draw.
It's
Yeah,
not
that's true.
there.
That's true.
It's all in your imagination.
Now it's 100% true, Dave. What you're saying, we all grew up with that, being American, that Tex-Mex stuff. And I'm not saying that it's not a good bite. That the old El Paso hard shell ground beef, dinner that we all grew up with, right? Not saying
Yep.
you can't get a good bite out of it because you can. I mean, and if you're don't have the money and you're trying to stretch it for feeding a family, I get it. I get it. Hamburger helper and all that kind of stuff, especially if your mom's not much of a cook. I get it. Not
Hmm.
everybody is, right? But as an adult, though, you kind of, I think, I don't, and this isn't a man or woman thing. I think you should put your best foot forward and try to understand the world of food a little bit better. I mean, it's something we all require.
You will in fact need some at
Yeah.
some point.
So maybe you should educate yourself, and it's never been easier. I mean, back in my mom, what did she have? She had that French guy's book, which everybody had. She probably had Julia Child's version of the Frenchman's book, which she just put her name on, and then she had Miss Betty Crocker, I am sure. And most of those were cut out from the back of packages. So it's not like today where you can go online and find people whose YouTube channel is dedicated to very, very, very minute, specific shit. And you can get all kind of recipes. You can get tutorials. You can have they show you. You should be
Interesting.
You should be trying to educate yourself for having better food. And the thing is, if you take a little more time making it and you put a little more effort into it, yeah, because it's going to cost you a little bit more than the frickin' hamburger helper, right?
Yeah,
So you're going to make less of it, which, and by default, what happens? Weight loss.
it's true.
It
Well,
is.
the one thing that the easiest way to lose weight, and I know I did. I lost 80 plus pounds, and I could have lost more, but I was didn't want to be honest. The easiest way to lose weight is to find your meals. Everybody's got like 6 to 10 meals that they eat pretty much all the time. These are your meals. These are what you eat. Just pay attention to it and look at it and see, is there any way to make them healthier, to
Mm,
reduce their calories, to increase their nutrients, to make them more filling so you don't eat as much of it. Make it nutrient dense and lower volume, or at least lower calorie. And most meals, if people actually pay attention to what they're eating, most of the stuff that we eat, for most people, I would say, isn't that bad. It's that you eat way too much of it. And
yeah,
the reason you
yeah,
eat
and
way too
wrong
much of
time of
it,
day too. Yeah.
yeah, the reason you're eating way too much of it is you're not eating proper fillers. So, one of my favorite things is pasta, as we all know. I'm very open about it. Still, I don't care if I'm almost 40 years old. I'll eat mac and cheese all day, every day. I fucking love it.
Yeah, mac and cheese is good.
However,
It's good.
it's extremely not good for you. Super high calorie, super low nutrient food.
Home.
How,
What are you
but
making homemade stuff or is that craft crap?
any of it.
Oh wow.
But
All right.
but you can make it that way. You can make it far better for you. It's still never going to be, it's maybe as good as a salad would be as far as low calorie, but you can still make it a lot more protein. You can make it a lot more fiber by putting in, certain vegetables or whatever. Like I like spinach. Been putting spinach in mine for a minute. It's a pretty good time. Um, Stuff like that. You
Yeah.
can do that kind of stuff to flesh it out, fill it out, and then you don't eat as much of it because
Hmm.
each and every bite is more filling.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best ways to lose weight is to take the things you love,
Hmm.
the non-negotiables, the things you're gonna eat. Right? For some people, that's cookies. They're gonna eat cookies. Well, you can find cookies that are healthier, or you can make your own that are way healthier than store-bought cookies. Way healthier than store-bought cookies. Uh, some people it's eggs or pizza or whatever. All of these things, all of these foods, there is no food that exists that you cannot make a healthier version of. I'm not saying you're going to make a healthy version of it, but you can make a healthier
Yeah.
version of it
I'm
that you
I'm
can
a
eat
nut
when you need to.
snacker.
Yep, yep.
I
And
hate
nuts are
that nut that came
dangerous.
out.
Yes, nuts are dangerous because there is a lot of calories in nuts. They are very dense,
Yeah, but
but they're
it's
also
good
very
calorie
nutrient
though.
dense. Yeah, they're super nutritious.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, that's really all you have to do. That's all we really did. Get rid of calories from your drinks, or get it as low as possible. So
Mhm.
don't drink your calories. That's most Americans' problem. We
Oh,
drink our calories.
cola.
Yeah,
Yeah, stop the
either
soda
pop,
shit, dude. Stop it.
or sweet tea or stuff like that, or
Oh,
even
sweet
juice.
tea
A
is a
lot of
killer,
juice.
dude.
It,
It is a healthier jelly donut. I agree, Eric. You should come on and tell us about your jelly donuts.
yeah. But no, that's the biggest one is to stop drinking your calories. Do it
Yeah,
as
no,
quickly as
soda's
possible.
not good for you. Yeah,
You can have the sugar free stuff if you absolutely like. That's one of my and my
it's
wife's
still full
non-negotiables.
of
Where
nasty chemicals, dude.
we're gonna have to have occasionally at least have some pop. We're just going to. We
Yeah,
know us. So our best bet is to find the best version of that, and the best version of
right.
that is the zero sugar stuff.
Right,
Um,
and I get that, and my wife and I have never had trouble with it because we're not really soda people.
yeah,
And when we do have soda every now and then, we seem to both enjoy Diet Coke, the flavor anyway. It's not for the diet
yeah,
reasons. And I will certainly have myself a Dr. Pepper every now and then. But
you can't go wrong.
we take an actual one can and we'll split it between us as kind of like a dessert, though. We don't
Well, I mean,
pour
might as well
ourselves our
be.
own soda.
There's so much sugar in it. It might as well be a dessert.
Well, that's how
Um,
we, yeah, and it's not that we, that isn't a diet reason. It's just that we're not big soda people, but every now and then we want that
well,
sweet, right?
ever since we switched from regular to sugar free, I don't even like the regular anymore. It's too sweet. Like I can
Yeah, I
just
never
taste
liked
the
Coke.
sugar.
Yeah.
Um,
Pepsi's
but
worse.
Dr. Pepper, as far as the zero sugars, Dr. Pepper is by far the
I
best.
never tried one.
By far, it's so good.
My wife says it
To
tastes
the
like
point
medicine.
where not anymore. At first it did, but not anymore. The
No, I'm talking about just straight Dr. Pepper. She hates root beers.
oh
She hates root beers. And then the
um
best ice cream ever invented, mint chocolate chip. She said it's like
ugh,
eating toothpaste.
ugh, ugh. I hate mint.
I
I'm
love
with
it.
her on that.
I love
My
it.
wife has some mint chocolate chip right now. Actually, I can't. Ugh, that must be a Celt thing. Get your
I
mint. Take your mint elsewhere, you
Yeah,
Celts.
fine. I'm gonna have to retitle this show to Night Owls on Dietary Supplements.
Yep.
Um, but that's okay. I
But
have a
yes, you
short
can
time
make a
today
healthy
anyway.
jelly donut. It's not that hard. It's not as hard as you might think it is. Um, the the problem with a donut is not even really the jelly. The problem with
Oh,
the
you talk about
donut is
actual
all
food.
the
Oh, okay.
yeah is all the sugar
Thought you
that's
was
in the
calling
dough
Eric a
that they
donut.
use to make a donut. You could fill a jelly donut with low calorie and even maybe even sugar free if you can find it, or at least no sugar added jam, and it's way better for you than the jelly will be. Like the nutrient, it's still going to be fairly caloric, and it's probably going to have some sugar in it. But you can make basically sugar free jelly if you want to,
Yeah.
if you know what
Well,
you're doing. Make
I've
preserves.
never been a calorie counter, but
Yep.
there's nothing wrong with it though. Getting into that and being religious about it it can be very useful for you, right?
Yep.
And so I'm not certainly not against it, but I've never ever done that. Dave
Well,
says
it's
my
good to know though. It's good to
I
know
suppose, yeah.
what you're eating. The best thing you can do, the two best things you can do if you want to lose weight, besides just exercise more, which obviously, two best things you can do is cut your calories out of your drinks all as much as possible to get them down to zero if you can,
Don't eat after
and
nine o'clock.
which is a lot easier nowadays to do.
Yeah,
By the way, because so much diabetic stuff's out there, you can find sugar free stuff, and it's usually no calorie.
right.
And the other thing is, at the beginning, do a food journal. They can get them right on your phone, and you don't even necessarily have to count the calories, but just know what you're eating.
Yeah,
And if you know what you're eating, it's very easy to change what you're eating, right? If say you ate 6 cookies just because, and you forgot about it a few days later, and you're like, man, why didn't my weight go down? And you look at your journal, oh, I probably shouldn't eat them 6 cookies. That didn't help.
right. Well,
Something like that.
that is a good point though, because way back when I did have that diabetes scare and I actually went on a diet, I lost similar amount of weight that you lost.
Hmm.
I did keep a food journal, and it is useful.
Yep.
It is useful.
Yep. It keeps
Um,
you accountable.
it does.
It's really all it does.
And it's just simply, especially for men, the way our brain works,
Yep.
it just falls in place for you.
Yep.
My Irish mom does love a mint chocolate chip ice cream. Dave says, well, because she's a smart lady. I respect
Kelp.
your mom
Telling you.
already.
We figured it out. We've done it. The Celt gene makes people love mint.
Maybe,
'Cause I just ugh. And I got
maybe.
Keld in me, but no, I don't. I don't like mint. I don't even really like mint
Well, I'm
in my
half Celt.
toothpaste. I don't even really. I'm not a big fan of mint. I mean, obviously, it's pretty hard to find a non-mint flavored
Did you
toothpaste.
know that I was a diverse mixed race? I am
All
both
right.
Celtic and Nordic. Hmm.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh no, that's
I
unfortunate.
am diverse.
But but
Did
did
you
you
see
get
Mads Mikkelsen the
the
other day, dude? Did you see Mads?
what did he do?
Oh, it was freaking beautiful. This comment to be fair, if you watch the whole clip, the reporter actually was trying to make a point against it, but it he got dunked on because it looked like he was supporting it. But well, that's irrelevant. He brought up the fact that Parasite, which is an all Korean movie, and it was okay. I watched it, and it won an Oscar or something, right? And that's okay. That's a diverse movie, but Mads Mikkelsen's movie is about 1780s drama set in Denmark. Is not diverse, right? Because
Hmm.
it's all white people. Because that's in the end. I wish they just start being honest and say, it's the white people's the problem. Yeah. But
Yeah,
Mads
we don't
just
like the
like right
whiteys.
from the beginning, really, and he just laughed at the guy. You get him, Mad. Mads is based. Still don't know
I
what that
like that.
means, but he is that. Hey, Grimlock.
Nobody does. Nobody
Yeah, no,
does.
anybody know what based means? Anybody?
Does mean based in truth.
Oh, Dawn breaks over Marblehead. Okay.
It was funny. I was listening to Thundaro slander the good name of tacos while I was at the Mexican
Yep.
restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah.
what was he?
That's
Yeah, and I like me a good taco. I'm just saying that the people don't do it right for the most part. Get yourself the
Yeah.
soft shell. Put it in a dry fry pan and make it a little brown on both sides. Take your
Yep.
barbecue that you made, a little bit of queso, maybe some green onions on top, and you jam it. That's how you make a taco, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. For many years, I used to tell people I don't like Mexican food. That's not true. Because I wasn't eating Mexican food. I was eating American Mexican food. And American Mexican food is gruel in shell. It's shell
Yeah,
gruel.
no, it is.
That's all
It
it
is
is.
bad. Yeah, it is bad.
Real Mexican food is not terrible. So
No,
when you got guys like Sargon out here, I guarantee you, since he's British especially, he's probably never even had Mexican food.
no, he
He's
was
had
just
Americans
defending the
export of it.
British. He was
Yeah.
just being, Sargon.
But, I mean, Sargon, I'm going to tell you something right now about Carl. Come here. Come here. Your food's trash.
Yeah, well, not all of it.
That's it.
But
What isn't trash? What British food is good?
roast meats and potatoes.
Everybody they don't get to own roast meat. Everybody roasts meat.
All right, fine. That's fair.
Yeah, that one's universal. If you got
It is
something you
true.
can kill in a fire nearby,
Yeah,
you
that's
got
true.
yourself some
That
meat.
is true. But to be honest with you, the Americans dominate the roast meat department anyway.
We do.
It's
No,
when you like
Thundaro-
foods that is truly American, right? Because barbacoa is certainly Spanish, but the thing with barbacoa, it's just slightly more advanced than the Polynesian natives running around naked on the beach of their Lao Laos shit, right? Which is pretty good actually. But Americans have taken that barbacoa concept to freaking ridiculous heights, dude. They scienced the shit out of it. That's what they did.
That's what we do.
And wow, I mean, it is absolutely killer. But yeah,
I
no.
will say I think we've gone too far though. We've gone too far with hamburgers. Because now some of the things they're putting on hamburgers should be criminal. It's silliness over here now, Chester.
Some of the things
They've
that
gone
they're
mad.
calling a hamburger that's not even a hamburger.
Well, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not there, thank God. But Eric will
Ugh.
certainly agree with me, and so should you as well, Thundero. Wisconsin butter burgers, which really should be called just onion burgers, but whatever, they call them butter burgers. Yes, please. That is
they're all right.
jamming, dude. You ever had one of them?
Yeah, they're all right.
Ooh, that's good stuff, man.
It is interesting how good butter is on beef. Like a butter steak. You ever had a butter steak? Oh,
Yep.
my God, it's good.
Yeah.
That's just, it's nowhere. You're literally taking something that's good for you and making it very bad for your heart, but it tastes good.
Oh yeah.
I did that
It's jamming.
with some butter and some garlic on a filet mignon. That shit was.
Oh yeah. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. But honestly, I would make like for another really good thing from Mexico. And I don't know if it's theirs or it's from further south, but because we find them all throughout the the indigenous people, is their mole sauces. Now, of course, these days they add modern ingredients, and I think they've probably leveled them up from their original source. But if I could consistently make a good mole over here in Japan, I would have that like in the refrigerator at all times. But I can't. It's a very expensive internet hunt and procedure for me to make a proper mole here.
I
But
can imagine importing that shit would cost an
yeah,
arm and a leg.
it's ridiculous. But you guys in America, you can get it easy as peasy, right? So if you haven't made a mole sauce, work on it because it is the best sauce on earth. And that's a big statement. And I just offended the entire country of France. But the good thing about it is, fuck France.
And nobody cares about
No one cares.
France.
No one
Even
gives a
France
shit.
doesn't care about France.
No,
Have you
that's
seen
true.
France?
That's true.
Holy shit.
We're supposed to have an Olympics there in like how many months? But
That'll be
they
interesting.
literally have war in the street. How is that going to happen?
I don't know.
Hmm.
It's a very good question. The once mighty France has been reduced to this.
Yeah,
Shame.
well,
We're almost not even worth hating.
It's not
anymore.
the
They're
first
almost
time.
not even worth the hatred
Yeah, I know. It's
anymore.
almost
We'll
pathetic.
we'll do it the same way we did in 2012 when we
Just
sent
look the other way.
Americans over to Brazil during the middle of a viral outbreak and said, "All right, niggers, don't forget to bring back the gold."
And they did. They did. As usual. But the Japanese are all excited because there's a couple sports they're actually kind of maybe potentially can be in the top 100. But my wife is a big sports person, and of course we had the basketball was running, and it's so exciting. First time Japan has ever made an Olympics on their own. Of course, when they have an Olympics, they automatically get to put a team of every sport in. It's one of
Yeah.
the benefits. But they've never actually earned their way in with basketball into the Olympics. So it's the first time they did it, so they're very excited. And now they're all excited about the rugby again as well. But my wife jumping up and down, all excited and intense. It's cute. It's cute because it's like, yeah, you guys made the Olympics and you're going to get your ass kicked. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
have the heart to tell her, just let her dream on, I suppose.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, um, Eric says, yeah, Butterburgers are good. But the White Castles are the best burgers. I've had a Crystals. I've had Crystal Burgers, but I've never had a White Castle. And they sound like the same thing. Have
It
you
is
guys
because
ever had a White Castle?
oh yeah, that's an East Coast thing for the most
Yeah, I
part.
know, and I'm from the East Coast, and I
Mm.
never eat one.
Really? All that
No,
time in New York, you never went to a White Castle?
no, never
Wow.
went. Why? I'm in New York. Why the hell would
Whoa.
I go to a chain place for a freaking burger? Dude, you know how many good mom
Because
and pop burgers there are in New York? You
yeah, but
live
see,
there.
I was also broke growing up. So if you have $5, a sack of 10, and some fries, and I would still have change,
Mhm.
man,
Nah, the
that was the
only
shit.
the only chain I went to in New York was, and I don't know how it ended up there, but there was up in Harlem, just up north. There was, and it's weird because you could just go across the street get mom and pop version of fried chicken, right? But
Oh yeah.
there's this little southern chain that somehow was in Harlem. I don't know how, but it's called Church's Chicken. It's like
Oh
Kentucky
yeah,
Fried
because
Chicken.
that's because churches sell at crack prices. That's why.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, it was cheap. But dude, now I don't know what it's like now. Dude, I don't even know if they're still around. But when I was young,
Yeah.
the best chain chicken you can get was not no KFC or nor no Popeyes. It was fucking freaking Church's Chicken. That shit was juicy badass. It was good chicken. And like I said, it's really weird because up in Harlem, every corner has some mama's southern fried chicken spot, right?
Or there was a couple of chains, but there was local like Kennedy Fried Chicken,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh,
Kennedy
but
Fried Chicken, American
yeah,
Fried Chicken.
that was shit. But
I don't know about American. Kennedy was all right, but the best chicken I could remember having back then was in Queens, a place called Robin Hood Chicken.
Robin Hood chicken. The best
Yeah,
chicken I ever
it
had
was
in
a
New
mom and
York
pop place.
was actually up in Brooklyn Heights.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, I know. I lived there. You know,
Oh yeah.
I hit the jackpot twice. I lived in Brooklyn Heights and I lived on Flatbush. hmm but it was the Jewish area. But I had to walk through the other area.
Mm.
Yeah. But nevertheless, it was a little mom and pop thing just sitting there. It was like right next to a little bodega, right? It was a
Yep.
small, grimy little shithole, right? But damn, that old lady could frickin' fry up some damn chicken, dude.
Oh, that's where you got to
Oh
go.
yeah.
You want to get some good food, I got to find them old ladies.
hmm
Yep.
They know how to make it, and they know how to make lots of it. Probably because they had about 17 kids during their life at some point. And
Yep.
man, you've just never eaten anything like it until
hmm
you had some old nana out here
hmm
made you just something simple, something everybody knows, like a burger. Anybody can make a burger, but they just put that magic in it. They
Yeah,
put that grandma magic in it, and
yeah.
it's just better.
They were
Just better.
very. Her fried chicken was the pan fried type, right?
Hmm.
And it was very red. I don't know if she added food coloring to the mix or she was just using lots of paprika. I'm not sure. But that shit was killer, man. You remember that? What was that pizza joint that came in and was trying to that they just popped up all of a sudden? It was like in the early '90s. There were like it just I can't remember the name of it. It was a pizza joint, and all over New York, they just these chain restaurants just popped up, and it was like, are you
Little
stupid?
Caesars.
Huh?
What, Little Caesars?
No, no, no. It wasn't that one. It was some other chain, but it was like in the early '90s, and it just appeared. And I
Hmm.
laughed. I actually, well, of course, I was stupid. I went and actually tried it. And it was shit. It's like Papa John, Little Caesar crap. It's no good. Because you're
Yeah,
literally in freaking New York, dude. What is New York most famous for?
Yeah.
pizza.
Pizza.
The za, and for
Yeah.
some reason being called the Big Apple, but there's no apples. It's very weird.
Well, there are apples. You can get a good apple
Upstate.
pie in New York, actually.
We get apple pie, but where's the apples coming from? They're not coming from the city.
Well, meaning
No, they come from
it's
the
the
state.
thing you can take a bite of. It's talking about success. It's a metaphor, Thundero.
It's a dumb metaphor. Nobody wants to have apples for success.
All right.
Sometimes, listen, I love America as much as the next guy, but sometimes our metaphors are dumb. They just are, and they only make sense because nobody argues with them. Like, yeah, we call it the Big Apple. Why? Sounded good. All right.
Yeah. The apple of my eye. There's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, huh? Why would you want somebody to be the apple of your? I don't know. Sounds good. All right. I
I'm gonna
like
be honest.
apples.
That
Well,
one
I like
sounds
an
like
apple.
abuse.
The
It does kind of
an
sound
apple a
abusive.
day keeps the shinigami away. Oh, that's probably not a traditional way to say it.
Not the traditional American style. No, I wouldn't
Yeah.
think.
What were you trying to say, Grimlock? Sorry. Thundero rudely
Oh no,
interrupted you.
Yeah.
oh no. When you said the apple of my eye, I said that one sounds like abuse.
Ooh. Okay. Hmm.
Oh yeah, Sabaro. Well, Sabaro was there before the '90s. That was like
Was it Sabaro?
no,
No.
Sabaro was before the '90s.
Yeah. So but
Sabaro
I'm
was
old,
like
so
the
it could.
'70s. Cause
No, no, it wasn't
like you,
that then. No, I remember Sabaros too.
no.
But
Sabaros was that place that was in every fucking mall in New York,
yeah,
bro.
I know it was and I just never understood it. I mean, you can literally walk across the street and find better pizza. I mean, New York pizza is killer, killer, killer. I mean, it's really serious. But
It was it was the convenience. It was because you know back then you used to have those like 5-story fucking malls, and you've been walking around all day in that shit, and it's like hungry.
yeah,
Oh,
no,
there's a
I know.
Sbarro's right there. It's just
Yeah, no,
like
you're right. Yeah, because I used to go down to the because I was working at the time, of course, by the '90s. But as I was with the Music Federation, and I was taking gigs. But when you have no work, I would do as everyone else did, and just kind of walk around, right? And so I did find myself in those kind of places quite a bit. Yeah,
the
but I
place
did.
to eat back in the day. Roy Rogers.
Mm, Roy Rogers, dude, killer rotisserie chicken. No, no, I'm talking about Kenny Rogers.
Yep.
I'm talking about Kenny Rogers. Roy Rogers was the seafood place, wasn't it? Well, that was Jolly
No,
Rogers.
that no, oh, that was the one with the rotisserie chicken. Then they would have because they would like every fall they would advertise it. Um,
It was the
I had some good
rotisserie chicken.
burgers though.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Let How you like them apples? Yeah, no, the apples. There was some kind of apple conspiracy going on back in the day, Alan. You should research it.
No, look, they was used in a manner of violence. Okay,
Um, Dave,
somebody was arguing over the
that's true.
bushels, and somebody took some
Yeah.
and probably beamed
Made
the
a
fuck
war, a
out of
little mini
somebody.
civil war we forgot about. That's true. Dave mentioned jets. Why would you do that?
Had a lot of places, man.
Yeah, that's true.
That
But
shit.
it's interesting how many New Yorkers are on this channel.
I
uh,
mean, man, a lot of. I mean, I remember the first time I went back in the 2000s, and so many of those places were just gone. It was like my
yeah,
childhood has
30 years I
disappeared.
haven't been back. Yeah.
You would not recognize it, man.
Well, I mean, we had 9/11, then we had Giuliani 9/11, and then we had frickin' Bloomberg. And then you had
That fuck,
that idiot.
another fucking dictator that everybody
Yeah.
seems to ignore was a dictator.
And then we have the current idiot. So yeah, I'm sure New York is
That,
a
that,
hot mess. So
that pet Negro that they have up there.
yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy has turned out to not be appropriate for the job. Kind of like
No,
Canada.
no. Oh no, he's exactly what they wanted. He's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, that's true. They want those.
Good boy. He pisses on the paper on command and everything.
Mhm, mhm. Does
That's
do the
that's white liberals' favorite kind of black.
do the people in New York still understand the expression of Tammany Hall?
They better learn fucking quick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true.
New York. That's the one of the few places in America I've never been is New York City.
You're not
I've
missing
been
much.
to every other major metropolitan area that I'm pretty sure, except Miami. I've been to all the other ones, but
Yeah.
not New York City.
It's got a couple of spots you can go check out. We lost one, of course. It got blown up.
Blowed up.
Blown up. But going out and looking out the sky deck there over at the Empire State Building's kind of nice. Can you still do that? Can you
I
still go to the
Probably.
don't.
top? I heard they shut the Liberty Statue of Liberty down. You can't go up top anymore.
I don't know,
Really?
man. They've cut off so much stuff.
Yeah, they have, but those two things, the sky deck on Empire State Building and looking out the crown of Statue of Liberty, those that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Honestly, if you ever go to New York, if you the way to do New York and Chicago as well is on the water. It really
Yes,
is. Um,
fairies.
yeah, ferries, or just get yourself go up somewhere up in Connecticut and get yourself a little bay cruise tour. And coming into New York from the water is the best way. It is the coolest way to see New York, Chicago particularly.
Yeah,
Matter of
then
fact,
Dara, you could do your favorite entrance. You come in on the water. You can say people of the Philippines.
that's true. That's true. Um, but
I have in
Chicago,
fact arrived.
the best way with Chicago is literally take the river all the way through Chicago. Don't get off the boat, and you had the best Chicago experience you possibly can have.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't step foot into Chicago. Just sail through it. You see, it is a nice sail though. It is gorgeous. But yeah, Chicago itself, you're probably within 5 seconds of putting your toe on the ground, you're probably dead. So
It is basically a death sentence walking
it
the
is.
streets of
Yeah,
Chicago.
Chicago is ridiculous.
It's
But
gone. Whatever Chicago was, it's gone. That's done.
no, I appreciate it, Dave. No, thank you very much. Hey, Comic Book Bob. He just tried In and
It's
Out
done.
Burger. It's overrated. I tried it once. It was no. I tried a Shake Shack. That was shit. The shake wasn't even very good. You ever
I've
try
never
that
had it
Shake
now.
Shack? The shakes weren't very good. I was like, huh? You can't even get that right. But then again,
Nope, never had Shake Shack.
I'm one of those noisy dudes that takes a day to prepare my hamburger. So
This guy.
yeah,
This guy here.
you have to properly season, dry, marinade, and let rest your meat. hmm
Yeah.
And you take that any way you like.
Any way at all.
Has anyone here been to Betty Ross's house? I do believe I have. Yeah, I do believe that a field trip took me there. Um, I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I know I saw another house by really inadvertently. I went to another famous, well, kind of famous house, Robert Howard's house.
Mm,
You know the dude who wrote Conan, Solomon Kane,
hmm
that dude. Yeah, I wasn't even planning
That
on
old
it. It just kind
chestnut.
of happened. Yeah. Okay, you been to
Interesting.
any famous houses then, Daryl?
Lincoln's. Um,
Oh
Mostly
yeah, the
just like
cabin. Yeah,
historical figures.
yeah.
Yeah, the cabin. Uh, where was the one? We went to one in Chicago. Can't remember who it was now, but there was one in Chicago. I've been to a couple. Like I said, I've been pretty much everywhere in America. Uh, if you want to count it, I've been to Buckingham Palace.
Well, there you
Does
go.
that count as a famous house?
It does. That is no, it's a famous, that pretty famous house, dude. That's
Pretty,
another
it's
one you
fucking
want to come in by
beautiful.
the water too. But yeah, I bet it is. I did all the Great Gatsby houses, but that's because it's in my literally in my backyard. My two proms were in two separate Newport mansions, and then I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm kind of famous, Grimlock.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, kind of famous movie star, really. I was an extra in the movie JFK.
Where you now?
Yeah, I was. And I'm in two scenes. It's kind of hard to see me, but you can technically hear me because I was at university at the time, and they came down and they wanted musicians to play in a gazebo band. And they put us
Hmm.
in uniforms, and we're just in the background as they're talking and stuff. But those were at Gatsby houses as well, in Newport. Um, I think they were supposed to be Martha's Vineyard. I don't know, but whatever. So yeah, I'm in JFK, kinda, sorta, in the background. You can't really make me
Interesting.
out. I'm sitting with a group of people in a gazebo. hmm
So you're telling me you shot JFK from the grassy knoll?
I
Got it.
probably did.
Yeah.
Probably did. Just too damn drunk to remember it.
Yep.
But
You
of course,
drugged you
that
up
was
real nice.
before I was born. But um,
Ah,
oh,
details.
I'm in another movie. I'm extra famous, Grimlock.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I am somewhere on the street. I've never yet been able to find myself. Maybe I wasn't in that capture of Mystic Pizza with Cher and Nicolas Cage. So I'm technically in a Nicolas Cage movie. Ha! Take
You're
that shit.
kind of a big deal,
Uh-oh.
is what you're
Kind of a
telling me.
big deal. Kind of a big deal. But I've done a bunch of those kind of things. Honestly, it's very easy to be an extra in a movie, and I suggest you all do it because it's fun. Yeah,
Good
you don't
time.
get nothing for it, and it can be a long day, but I don't know. It's just kind of fun.
Let's see. The
No?
only famous. The funny thing is, most of the time, the famous people that I knew of, it was like through my father, and half the time, like I've been to their houses, but like they weren't home. But if my brother would go, they would be home.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I see. I see.
Like
I see what you mean. Yeah,
like the band Living Color, right?
I do. They were a great band.
So my dad knows Vernon.
Oh, cool.
They grew up in the same neighborhood. He took me over to his house one day, but Vernon wasn't there. My brother went with him another time. I wasn't there. He met Vernon. That's some shit. So that
Right.
that kind of shit happened to me. So
Right. Yeah. No, I haven't met a lot of famous people in my life either. I mean, I have, but that was mainly music. And that was I was
yeah,
cheating because I was a professional musician. That's definitely cheating.
Yep. Yep.
The only
I I, I would consider that a job perk, not cheating.
yeah, that there you go. There you go. The only celebrities I've met in the wild, and the worst thing about being an
In
extra
the
in Mystic
wild.
Pizza, was not meeting Nicolas Cage. Matter of fact, I didn't even see him. It was a bummer.
No.
But yeah, in the wild. Let's see. Who was that? Remember that guy who was a comedian, kind of chubby? He had his own little show where he has like bad teeth, little needle teeth. Um, he had his own little cartoon there. Can't remember his
You
name. Like, I think it was
described a lot of people.
gingerish, kind of fat, John Candy esque.
Oh, Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson. Yeah, I met him
Yeah,
in Maui. Okay. Um,
Louis
speaking
got
of.
around back in the day.
Yeah, no, I met Louis, and he was actually I had a chat with him for a while. He was a real sweet guy, nice guy.
Yeah,
Uh,
a lot of
uh,
people love him.
I met Cardinal Desmond Tutu. So
The Cardinal.
yeah, I
The
don't
one and
the
only.
one and only. I don't know. I don't know that matters to anyone, but that was kind of interesting. Let's see, who
That
else
is a
did
Yeah.
I meet, actually in the wild? Not many, man. Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, because I met a lot of musicians in the late 80s and 90s, but I was a musician myself. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
heavy metal guys. I mean, I was really good friends with Nuno Betancourt, Blackie Lawless, but that's different though because mainly that situation, I was working for a studio in New York at the time, and the money was great. And I was basically just a background music guy, a BGM guy, right? For albums and things like that. I did a couple of Sting albums and things. It was just great, right? But you don't really get to meet them. You're just kind of you're in the studio, do your work, and then they give it to them and they listen and they sing in the booth and all that kind of stuff. But nevertheless, that's what I was doing. And this company, a couple of the companies that I worked for, they handled a lot of like rock and roll, heavy metal, hair band, glam band, rock type of stuff. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
even though I didn't work on much of that myself, because I was literally a saxophone player, but they would have parties that they would host for the superstars, right?
Mhm.
And just because I was literally in the same office, I could go, and I, of course, went.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Huh. Well, I never.
yeah. So I have met a lot of, especially heavy metal, glam rock guys of the late '90s and '80s, and musically performing wise, I met a lot of guys in the more kind of black pop world.
Mm.
For some reason, that's where I was often playing saxophone was on their stuff, like Shaka Khan and what was that guy? I can never remember his name. Grimlock, you're the only one who remembers his name. The guy that did the time, that guy, Morris something.
Morris Day?
Was it Morris Day? It might have been Morris Day. I think it is Morris Day.
Yeah.
Met
It's
Maybe.
more
him.
today.
Played on his album. He actually came into the studio and chatted with us. That was cool. Did more of those kind of like late '80s, early '90s. That kind of when hip hop was fun. You know,
Yep.
back in those days when it wasn't all about yo yo yo, I shot your mama and I'm gonna fuck her. I don't know, but that's what it's become. Um,
Ah.
but it's horrible these days. Back in the '80s, man, hip hop was fun, dude. Everyone was
Yeah.
welcome, right? Everyone was welcome. And
It's
these
absolutely not even remotely music anymore. It's just not. It's just sound at this point.
No, all they're doing is the no, boom chicka chicka boom chicka, on the top, right? And then
Yep.
you can't even. There's all mealy mouth. You can't understand a damn thing that they're saying. But
Yep.
yeah, Morris Day.
I am startled by the accuracy of all of this.
Well, it's true. But there's a
I,
whole
yes,
bunch of
I know
bands.
that. I know.
But there was a whole bunch of
But
bands because like they would bring them down and they do like the House of Blues or some of the big live houses in New York, and I
yep.
often was playing in those in those house bands, right? Often. So I met a lot of those kind of '80s pop, hip hop slash hip hop dudes,
Yep.
and played for them, backed them. And that was cool. I mean, they were, but like I said, back in those days, it was very different. That we didn't have a black white thing at that time. It didn't exist. I
Yep.
mean, there was no racism conversations happening that I ever heard. Especially TV was some of the best TV you could watch had black. The main leads were black.
Yep.
Movies, music, it just didn't exist. And we get up and it was great. It was a good. I can't remember half of the names of those bands, but I'm sure some of you do. But there, it was great fun, dude. I loved it.
Yep.
You know,
It is a shame.
it is. It is. And I had a mullet unashamedly. and it was and I had sunglasses that I wore on stage. I often wore those stupid purple or orange. I don't know what you call them. They're not pastels, but those with the high collars that I always put up because Huey Lewis did it, and therefore it was cool. But they had like little weird. It's like if you break a pane of glass, and you kind of put that pattern all over a shirt, and it was all like exploding neon colors. Remember those
Right.
shirts? Yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I wore on stage, and I had baggy pants. I might have even wore parachute pants from time to time,
Oh no,
even though Eddie
no, no,
Murphy
no.
would chastise me for
He should, rightfully so. Yeah.
it. But it was fun though, man. That's the thing about the '80s and the early '90s, or even most of the '90s, if you get aside from that freaking grunge shit. It was fun.
Not allowed to have fun anymore, Chester. What do you think this is? Entertainment? What?
Yeah. But everyone was just having a good time going out to the club and goofing around with each other. There wasn't any issues. There was no angst, right? I mean, I'm sure they existed over there. If the life according to Garp told us that they existed in the shadows, hidden in the bushes. Boy, that's a reference right there, baby. I should get an extra 100 points for that. Anybody? Life according to Garp, one of Robin Williams' best movies. Anybody?
I don't know if I've
Oh,
ever seen that one.
that was that period, that late '80s period where Robin decided to do serious acting.
Dude,
And we
he's
got some great
good at
movies
it.
out of it.
Yeah, the Fisher King. But yeah, Life. You haven't seen Life According to Garp. It's a weird little movie, but it's spectacular at the same time. And you get to see, dude. Here's the selling factor for that movie. You get to see John Lithgow in drag. Hmm.
Just what I've always wanted.
I mean, it is. It's something you needed and didn't know it. But the thing with John Lithgow is anything he does is freaking gold. So,
He is pretty good.
he's freaking
One of them underrated
spectacular,
guys.
dude. I mean, Buckaroo, his role there at Buckaroo Banzai was killer, dude. Oh my god.
See, I've seen What Dreams May Come, and I obviously really like that.
Oh, that was a good
It's
movie,
hard to
yeah.
pick a best Robin Williams movie because he rarely missed.
Oh, dude,
Uh,
Robin's his best movie is Aladdin. Let's just put it aside.
I agree.
He put enough gags in there for them to make 12 movies. They said.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
I I say this all the time, Chester. Disney's made one good movie, and it's Aladdin, the original Aladdin animated movie. There's some that are okay, but one that I would consider genuinely a good movie is Aladdin. It's
Yeah,
phenomenal,
it's
and
killer.
he's one of the
It's
main reasons
fantastic.
for that.
Yeah,
Is
it is.
that it's him.
But Eric knows. Life According to Garp is his best movie. It is his best movie as far as acting accolades. And When Dreams May Come. I liked it too, but I'd probably put Fisher King ahead of that. I don't know. They're both really good. But if you hadn't seen Life According to Garp, and I understand that you wouldn't have, he just murders that movie,
Well,
dude.
what about Goodwill Hunting as
Oh,
the
see, god
therapist?
damn,
Yeah.
what was that radio Vietnam movie he did? Good Morning Vietnam.
Uh,
Well, that
yes.
wasn't the name
Oh
of it though.
man.
What was the
No,
name of
but
it?
that's what everybody remembers. Oh, come
It was
on.
Good
It's a
Morning Vietnam.
classic.
Is it Good Morning
Is it just
Vietnam?
called?
Yeah, Robin's just that is such a good movie too. Robin, God man, what?
He was underrated somehow, like
Yeah,
because everybody just kind of thought of him as a funny guy, but
and he was
yeah, he
great at
was,
that.
but
Um, he's just
he could just
amazing.
dig into a character and bring out so much humanity that like the genie is a perfect example. That's not a character that's supposed to be that endearing and charming, but it's
Yeah,
because it's him. That's
yeah.
why. Look at Will Smith's. How much of a joke that was. It's
Yeah, but
because it's him.
that's not fair. They should have. Will should have known better than to touch that. I mean,
Just
You
thought of
say
another.
that, but do you see his wife?
well, that's
I just
fair.
thought of just had another one come to mind. Dead Poet Society.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yes. Now Robin,
That's a
God,
movie that
what a
made a whole lot of movie stars. That movie
yeah,
there.
yeah. No, Robin is killer. And it's really unfortunate. He just wasn't a guy that went to the doctor, but it's really unfortunate no one saw what was going on with him. Couldn't help. It couldn't, because basically his brain was being eaten away, and that's
Yeah.
what led to it. So, what Schneider is it? The little goofy guy that's in all the Adam Sandler movies. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Rob Schneider. He
Yep.
Yeah.
is. He and Robin. I think it's him. Yeah, he and Robin are like best buddies or something like that. And he saw the whole thing, his quick decline, and yeah, I saw his interview with Joe Rogan. It was pretty rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Popeye. Oh, freaking Eric. Yeah, that Popeye was a killer movie too. Um, Yeah, Robin Williams never made a bad movie. Not that it comes to my head. I mean, Mork and Mindy got a little bit sideways when Jonathan Winters came on, even though I absolutely adore Jonathan Winters. It did get a bit
People might
sideways,
say Bicentennial Man.
but it's still a solid
I
movie,
thought it
though.
was. I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was solid. I
It's
didn't
a
think it was
bit
a
boring.
great movie.
Yeah, but
Well, there's a lot of movies like that that are
yeah.
just a bit boring.
But back in the Mork and Mindy days, he was on enough cocaine to literally light New York City. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, uh,
Yeah.
yeah. But nevertheless, that is a huge loss. But I got to go. I'm already past my time. I have to go into work, and I haven't even slept yet.
Let's do
Jesus,
this
dude.
article real quick because I think it's a good one, and then we'll get out of here.
All right, all right. I can put a little bit of time. Yeah, I did have a plan today. It would just blame Thundero. Okay.
Yeah, it's usually
Yeah.
my fault. It's fine.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, let me bring it up, show it to everybody. But well, my main goal today was to kind of talk about this because, well, go ahead and read it.
Hang on, let me open it up. If it'll open. Numerous Disney executives reportedly believe CEO Bob Iger's endgame, funny, good job, Spencer,
Yeah.
is to sell the company to Apple.
Yeah. Now we've been hearing rumors of this for years and years. Sony,
Yeah.
Apple, right? Apple particularly, but Sony as well. We've been hearing, rumors of this, but there was actually a journalist that went and talked to a lot of not only current executives working in the company, but ones that have exited the company recently, right? And it seems to be unanimous that these executive level people, I'm not talking about the dude running around in the goofy costume twerking in front of children, not that guy, the actual executives, they unanimously agree that this is Bob Iger's plan. Is to
Yep.
just keep Disney alive long enough to sell it to Apple. But here's the thing, though. Um, we had this conversation 5 years ago, right?
Yep.
And at that time, it made a little sense that Apple or even Sony or Amazon might be interested in something like that. But as Disney stands today, because it's been drilled into the ground so badly, is it appealing anymore?
Yeah. Yeah. Properties are.
Just the
Every
IP
one of their
value,
properties, every single one of them can be refurbished in 2 years by somebody who's competent. The
that's
problem is
fair.
Disney has no interest in competency. They have an interest in making political statements, but not competency in their production.
Right.
You could say you could even fix Star Wars for most of the people who are Star Wars, rather not Star Wars, whatever I said. For most of the people who are like me, who are not interested in anything Star Wars, you can fix it very, very, very quickly with a new owner that says that trilogy didn't happen. Just
Well,
decan.
yeah,
Disney did
that's
it.
true.
Disney decanonized a whole bunch of stuff.
They did.
So
They did. Yeah.
someone else could do it too.
Well, the thing
And that
is,
would fix for me. That would fix most of the problems with Star Wars that Star Wars is in right now.
sure.
And that's just one example. Marvel, on the other hand, they'd have to do a little bit more work. But Star Wars' main problem is The Last Jedi. And everything that's
Yeah.
come after that, that's one thing or another. Most of that could just be ignored, though. But what
Right.
they did to Luke Skywalker cannot be ignored. And I don't care what other cool stuff they do. I'm not interested unless they fix that because
Right. Well,
there's no coming back for that for me.
and the thing of a new owner coming in also, what it brings is a fresh start point of view. Everyone's like, okay, someone new's got it. Let's see what they do, right?
Yep.
So that's about the only way you probably could fix it. You're right. But
Yep.
I just don't know. And this article, Spencer here, and the person that this article is based upon, don't know that there's that kind of value anymore. Matter of fact, this article uses the word pipe dream, meaning there's
Hmm.
no way Apple's going to bite at this particular mouse shape apple at all.
I think. Well, we heard these reports in 2020 as well that there was a lot of clamoring, a lot of noise coming from both camps of potentially buying up Disney because Apple somehow I don't understand it because I don't know a single person who watches it, but Apple TV is apparently humongous because they have all kinds of A-list celebrities doing all kinds of stuff over there. I've seen absolutely
Well,
none of it, not a single bit of it.
because you're in America. Outside of America, Apple is king. Mhm.
Yes,
Especially in
yes,
Asia. The Asians are fashion addicted. They don't care what the thing is. Is it the fashionable thing? Therefore, they'll buy it. The women here in Asia are like that. Oh, if it has the word Louis Vuitton on it, oh, it must be the best thing, even though it probably isn't, right? As far as I know,
right.
Coach actually makes a far superior bag. But
Hmm.
Louis Vuitton, the name, right? Asians are really crazy about this whole fan thing. So iPhone, even though it's not the best phone, I mean the quality's good, but Samsung, or actually the best phone you can get is probably a Sony Xperia, right? But
Hmm.
there are many phones that are actually a better purchase than the iPhone. But here in Asia,
Yep.
they don't sell anything but iPhones.
So my point is though they need something. I would say they need kind of like how Amazon bought up MGM, right? I think it was. Uh, that was very very smart. And Apple wants to keep being an entertainment company, and they are. They're going to need some juice,
Yeah,
and there
no,
is no
yeah,
bigger piece of juice out there right now than the Disney IPs because they own fucking everything basically. I mean, they own so much. So if somebody
Pixar,
comes in and can,
Marvel, Star,
oh my god,
Lucasfilm, which is more
you
than
can come in and buy
Star
that
Wars,
wholesale. You can
Fox.
come in and buy that wholesale, buy the whole deal, the whole
Hmm.
kit and caboodle, which I bet wouldn't happen. If I'm Iger, I wouldn't try and sell the whole. I would try to piecemeal it,
Well, they
sell off
probably
some of the
won't sell
properties.
ESPN because
Yeah,
that seems sacred to them, which is weird because its
that's what I would
viewership has
do though.
dropped incredibly.
If if I was them, I wouldn't try to sell it as one big block. You might be able to get a bigger number for it, maybe, but I think you probably end up with more in the end if you splintered it and sold it that way. So sell off Marvel, sell off Star Wars, and da da da
Hmm.
da. But most likely, Apple's going to want all of it. If they're going to buy it, they're going to buy everything. That's what they're going to come in for. So we'll see. I want this to be true for two reasons. One, fuck Disney, they deserve it, and two, they cannot possibly do worse. They can do just as bad, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but they can't do worse than what Disney did. They can't. They can't do worse than Endgame, and they can't do worse than The Last Jedi. There's nothing they could do that is worse than those two films for Marvel and Disney respectively. Nothing. So
Yeah.
Disney is in serious trouble, whether they want to admit it or not. Their movies are tanking at a rate that I've never seen. No
No,
one's ever seen.
crazy amount of money
Uh,
lost. Yeah.
just billions and
Billions.
billions of
Yeah,
dollars
yeah.
just gone, like it never even happened. And there's no coming back for them because their brand's completely tainted. They only even their parks aren't making money right now. Like
No.
that's crazy.
Well, because they take that kind of silly, bad business tactic. You're losing money, you're not making enough. So what do? Charge more. That's not the
Yes.
solution, but that's what they're doing, and therefore
Yeah.
their parks are tanking as well.
The only time you should raise your prices is if you're making money, not when you're losing
That's right.
money.
No,
you're,
that's
you're
right.
misreading the market.
That's right. That's right. When we don't have real slumps here in Japan. The economy is flat as a pancake for freaking 30 years. But
Yep.
they get panics though. Nothing is
Mm.
happening, but the Japanese are very panicky. And In those times when you see prices go up and stuff like that, I never adjust my costs.
Right.
It's always when things are quiet that I do that. I just increased my tuitions recently.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah, that's when you do it.
yeah,
You do it when things are good.
yeah,
You don't do it when things are bad
yeah,
because when that you're just going to make things worse, most likely.
yeah.
But there is a lot of that. You're right. That's one of the biggest problems. There's a lot. They're chasing whales. Is what they're doing. They know they have the select group of people who will give them outrageous amounts of money for stuff.
Yeah.
But that pie's not as big as it used to be. Those people either are just dead or gone, or they've abandoned ship
Mhm.
because Disney is hurting.
Yeah, they
So
are.
I think this is probably true, or at least it's true enough that Iger isn't against it. If
Well,
that makes sense.
a
Like
lot of
he might not be
people,
actively doing it, but
right?
he's definitely for it. Put
Well,
it that way.
the point of this article, because like I said, we've been talking about this for years, but the point of this article is you're getting a lot more people who are recently out and still in at Disney that are openly talking about it now. And that's
Yeah.
different. We didn't get much noise coming out of Disney. It's just everyone else was speculating. But now the people who literally run Disney are saying it. So that's kind of a big deal. I do need to run. So Grimlock, would you like to give your opinion and we can wrap up on that?
Uh, yeah. Well, like I said, this is a lot of Disney's own doing. Poisoning the whale. They've done this to themselves with all the bullshit that they have done, and to be honest, the bad business practices of thinking they could just buy everything to compensate for bad business, and it came back to bite them.
Mm,
And then the FTX thing, which nobody seems to be talking about anymore,
right.
which Disney was heavily involved in.
That's right.
Yep.
Um, Disney deserves what it's got coming, and for a couple of reasons, I don't want Apple buying them. One,
Well,
because fuck Apple.
yeah,
Number one.
Yep.
that's the
Yep.
only one.
Two, Disney doesn't deserve a bailout, and
That's
three, with Apple doing as well as like you said with Apple TV, in spite of the fact that, like Thundar said, I don't know anybody who actually
no one.
watches
Yeah, it's
Apple
Not a
outside
TV,
person.
America. It's
and
outside, mainly Asia.
and I absolutely hate that fucking deal that they have with Major League Baseball, where once a week they force, if you want to watch, if you're following a team and that team is on Apple TV, you can't watch even the local broadcast. You have to watch it on Apple TV. So
Oh,
fuck them for that.
there are
Um,
ways around that, Grimlock.
oh, I
Yeah.
know, but even still, I'm just saying, for the people who went out and got the MLB app for the reason to watch these games, and now you have games taken away because of fucking Apple TV. Fuck them for that. Um, but no, what should happen is they should, like Thundar said, they should be piecemealing this shit off.
Yeah,
Because I think with Apple being as big as it is with their TV thing, um, them buying this wholesale should be a massive red flag
Yeah.
to the SEC if they're actually interested in doing their job. And I've noticed they pick and choose when they're actually concerned about monopolies. You wasn't concerned about Disney being a monopoly, but for some reason, Microsoft buying Activision, that was too far. That was a bridge too
Mm.
far.
right.
So,
Well, I
um,
would personally love to see Toho buy Disney
Ooh. Ooh.
or
okay,
some
I'm
other
down for that.
Japanese company because I would rather have the lineage and the future of that lineage be in the hands of proficient people like the Japanese, because the Chinese will just use
Yeah.
it as a propaganda tool if they let Tencent or something like that buy it. But the Japanese would actually just run it for profit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are filthy capitalists.
they
The
are.
Japanese.
Indeed, they
Filthy
are. And Mickey would be
capitalists.
sexy again.
Well, I don't know if I need Mickey to be sexy. Let's calm down.
Okay. But anyway,
Let's relax here. I don't need that image, all right? I don't need
all right,
I don't need
fine,
sexy
Minnie
Mickey Mouse
then.
coming for me in my dreams, all right?
You don't want to go to sleep tonight thinking about Motorboat and Minnie Mouse? Come on, man.
No,
That's the
no,
American
not
dream.
particularly.
Oh shit. But Saudi Arabia has a better take on Disney ATM at the moment. Maybe, And one
That
thing,
would be crazy.
well,
That would be
here's the thing
crazy.
about the Saudis, though, the royal family over there. They know that their oil, because oil is not what people. I'm not going to get into that, but their production value of what they have access to is coming to an end. And the Saudis are
Yep.
putting a lot of money into trying to make money in other areas, which is smart,
Especially entertainment. Especially entertainment.
especially entertainment. So,
Um, it's funny
Saudis
you say
coming
that
in and
because
buying, that'd be interesting.
the Crown Prince they had a big conference over there, big Middle Eastern conference, and he spoke at it. And he said within 5 years he believes the Middle East will be the new Europe because the Saudi Arabia that we have now is going to be drastically different in 5 years. And then he listed basically every country is the
Oh,
plan because they're desperately modernizing very
they're
quickly.
spending money
Mhm.
like mad.
Yeah,
Mad,
yeah,
yes.
super
And they're not
fast.
the only ones. Some of the other, like Jordan, UAE,
Yep,
they
he
are
mentioned
on
all
that
of them.
shit. Yeah.
Yep.
And
And he said this was the exact quote. Uh, Before he dies, he wants to see the Middle East as the dominant region of the world. Basically, is what he
he's
said.
trying. Well, he wants to be the new caliphate.
Yeah.
It's what he wants, and he's been pushing for it. But no one else is in the Muslim world is biting. But the interesting thing that's come out of this with Jordan, UAE, and Saudi Arabia, particularly, and Syria was part of that too until we won't. That's a long conversation. But
Mm.
they're all happily working with a certain little country called Israel.
Yeah, they seem to be getting along just fine.
Yeah, making
Just
money.
fine.
And
They do like money.
them
They do
Jews
all like
do
money.
are known for making the monies.
They're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good at it. But
So
so are the Arabs, if we're honest. They're pretty.
they
That
are.
whole region likes to make money.
They are
They're big
good at it.
fans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That is true. But nevertheless, we'll end on that note because I'm going to be late. I gotta go. So
Get out of here.
Disney, Disney. But I mean, like Thundera said, it can't get worse. So
It
let
can't.
someone have another crack at it, I guess.
Yeah.
But we'll see you
Oh yes,
guys
you
next
can.
week.
You can have fucking Mickey Mouse hawking fucking iPhone ads to you
Oh, he
every fucking
will.
30 seconds.
Oh, he will.
Oh, that'll happen.
Oh,
That
that'll
would happen.
happen.
Yeah, 100%.
The Disney model will arrive immediately. Of course, but
Just waiting for that commercial. Want to be on a Bible network? I'm like, fuck
yeah,
off.
yeah, no, it's definitely coming. I can't stand Apple products anyway. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, Thundero, take us out of here, man.
Very simple one. The toll of wishful thinking always comes due without expectation
Mm.
and with a thunder.
Ooh, namaste. Later, everybody.